Yes, burn the bad rolls now. Only the worthy survive tonight. They don't stand a chance. And tonight, they learn that I am no joke. All right. Today's session is huge. The party is level 4. They think they're safe. They think this is just a cozy little holiday arc with Christmas cookies and snuggling up by the fire. But what they don't know is that I've been a very naughty dungeon master this season. For an undead bard assassin has been following their every move. He sings, he lies, he crits you emotionally. He'll tell you your mother's cooking is too salty, and he means it. This man, he follows no rules, ethically, morally, batically, or even musically. And tonight, he claims the first ghost of Christmas. That's right, the party has no idea that... The party has no idea that... Hey man, something came up. Can't play tonight, sorry. That was Valdrin Friedhelm, known all across the realms as the Fornicator. He's the party's frontline fighter, the main damage sponge, the man who has failed more saving throws than I knew was even deemed possible, and he still won't die. He's the Fornicator. Without the Fornicator, this party folds in 2 rounds. He keeps them alive. He absorbs consequences. So, no D&D tonight. But just because there's no D&D tonight doesn't mean that tonight there's no D&D. Because everything is D&D. Extended rest. Roll those hit dice, friend. Goblins incoming. They never surrender. Minor stamina potion. Bitter. Addictive. And this... fuck! That's a caltrop. Failed dex save. Full damage. No party. No campaign. No reason to roll any dice. Well, since my campaign is canceled tonight, what do you say we review someone else's campaign? The colony that went silent. No thanks. The man who wouldn't stay dead. No. The city where dinosaurs walked. No. The long campaign of growing up. Hell nah. What the fuck is chili dogs? We'll add that to the maybe. You know what? It's Christmas. Sorry, chili dogs. So what do you say we review a campaign a little bit more festive? I'm talking about the Christmas Dragon.
Is Christmas real? When is it?
It's real. It's less than a week away. There haven't been presents in any stockings for years now.
Why hasn't Father Christmas been seen in years?
Well, maybe it's because we don't believe. We need to believe that he'll come. Make a wish in your heart for him to answer.
We open on young Aiden at Christmas as her parents give her a kite, which, first of all, excellent peasant gift. No batteries, no small parts, just cool vibes in the wind. Aiden thanks her parents, and Father Christmas, of course. And I don't mean like just some spirit, like the idea of Father Christmas. No, there's an actual fucking wizard here. Like big cloak, big beard, full Gandalf energy, hell yeah. And this is where we start Act 1, or as I call it, Peasant Christmas in the IRS. So we see Aiden and her parents, they're having fun, they're flying her new Christmas kite, and then all of a sudden they get approached by the tax collectors. Because nothing says holiday cheer like fantasy IRS agents showing up with swords. We know you don't have any money, but we're gonna take that shitty kite then. These guys are clearly lawful evil, just a bunch of jerks. And then all of a sudden, a fight breaks out. And even though this dude with the sword walks up on the Gardner Minshew looking guy, he goes full Minshew magic monk on him, slaps him right across the face, which of course means the DM underestimated the power of Gardner Minshew guy in the party. So what's he do? He does what every unprepared DM wants who doesn't expect a battle that the party can win right here. So he throws in like 24 guys with swords. So because of this, they get surrounded. There's way too many people for this battle, and Aiden's parents are thrown in this little wagon jail cell thing. So while trying to escape, Aiden, she takes off running. She fails her acrobatics check. She falls down into this little hole, and then all of a sudden, there's just fucking dragon eggs. Just casually. There's no warning. There's no build-up. This is what happens when the DM goes, yeah, roll perception. Well, fuck it. There's dragon eggs, and I love it. And stuff like this is what happens when like the DM rolls on like the random bullshit table. It's like, hey, what's down here? Oh, you find the body of a goblin. You find an old pocket watch. Ah, fuck it, dragon eggs. And then the dragon approaches and he starts toasting the tax collectors, which rules, so hell yeah. Unfortunately, though, the dragon also kills Aiden's parents in the process because this is still a fantasy movie and happiness is illegal. Plus, we need orphans for this story, damn it. More orphans! Hey, this is a great fantasy movie. Is it going to be a Christmas one? Yeah, of course it is. Well, then we need some more fucking orphans. Come on, dragon, toaster parents! So congratulations, player 1, aka Aiden. You have unlocked the orphan class. And Aiden, she runs off alone. She's traumatized. She's now an orphan, and she's probably thinking, wow, Christmas sucks. But hey, at least I'm still better off than that kid from the Christmas Shoes song. And right away, you can tell that this was a movie funded by Kickstarter. Like the accents, the acting, the special effects, the budget. It's not the greatest. However, what it lacks in that, I love like the heart. I love the charm, the scenery of everything. I actually really like the look of it. You can tell that they put a lot into it. They spread out the money the best they could. And I'm actually impressed with a lot of it so far. But enough about that. Back to the orphans. And now we cut to 6 years later, and Aiden, she is living in the orphanage with a bunch of other little orphans and bellions and troublemakers. Yes, that is right, the orphanage, or as I like to call it, the tragic backstory Costco, because you don't get just one sad past, you get all of them in bulk. And I'm guessing that half these kids exist just purely to die later for emotional experience. We will find out. It is a Christmas movie and a family movie. Maybe no one will die, but maybe all these orphans will. We will find out. And also, sometimes they're just like random kids and like manacles. And I do like the touch that all the orphans, every scene, are always stealing food. I think that's a good touch. That's kind of fun. I like that. So as we see Aiden assisting another orphan, she kind of has like this Harry Potter thing going on where she has these dragon scars, and whenever the dragons are nearby, they start hurting, which means the DM gave her a passive trauma ability. So hell yeah, I can dig that. I like that. Hero point for the backstory. And then the orphans start sword fighting, and then the cool kid, he pulls out this little shit sock and he starts swinging it at the other assholes right in their faces. Roll a deck save. You know what? Fuck it. Roll a con save with disadvantage also. And this kid swinging the shit sock, he shouldn't just be kicked out of the orphanage. He needs to be kicked out of the whole damn campaign. Get out of here. Away from the table. Get. And take your shitty turd socks with you. Why do you even have this hidden shitty turd sock? If only 6 years ago, these orphans would have showed up with that dirty shit sock, they could have fought off that dragon and Aiden's parents would still be alive. At dinner, the orphans, they start talking about the legend of Christmas, and this is where we get the big lore dump. The DM, he has leaned back in his chair, he's folding his arms, and he goes, all right, so here's how everything in this campaign works. And then, yes, of course, there's this kid. She doesn't believe in Father Christmas because someone rolled insight on Santa. And then the next day, they need a reason to be out in the woods, so they're collecting stuff to make a wreath. And then Aiden, she wanders into the woods, and then we get jump scared by a creepy elf with this wiener nose. Fuck, that's actually scary when he just fucking pops up like that. Yeah, that was actually scary. He looks good. It cracks me up the part where, like, you can see his big wiener nose hanging out of the hood, but, like, Aiden isn't bothered by it until he takes the hood off. And she's like, oh, fuck. But he actually looks scary. I think he looks good. I like it. He tells her that Christmas is dead. The magic is gone. Father Christmas is dying, and the elves are turning into goblins. Sorry to shit on your fun parade, orphan, as if your life didn't suck bad enough. Here's a bunch of other bad news. Basically, it's seasonal depression that is hitting the fantasy realm. And all I gotta say is welcome to the club, orphans. Welcome to the club. The elf then hands Aiden a magic crystal and tells her that it'll guide her like a compass. Follow it, find the magic, save Christmas. And then he immediately turns into this nightmare goblin elf thing and everyone runs off screaming into the woods. So hell yeah, I love that. The quest giver with a limited warranty. The DM just throws this guy out there to throw out like a quest thread. And then as soon as he's done, just fucking get out of here. Get out of here, goblin. And now this guy, I don't know who this guy is. I'm on the fence on whether or not he's creepy or if he rules or not because his face kind of tells both stories. And then once the coast is clear, Aiden tells the others about the crystal and the elf, and of course they all agree to join her on this quest to save Christmas. So there we go. We got the main adventure hook right here. And I love that they all just go on this quest. It's like, yeah, this fucking weird ass forest goblin gave me this crystal, and he said, follow it and we'll save Christmas. And then all the orphans are like, yeah, I'm in. What else are we gonna do? And I know this part's silly, but like, come on. They sneak out through the window here, and then one of the orphans is like, oh, this is almost 30 feet up. The ground is 30 feet below. Does this look 30 feet to anyone? And then watch this. This guy, he pulls the blankets back up, the one they're using as a rope, and you see like maybe like a shirt length of blankets, and that was supposed to reach from the window 30 feet down to the ground. But hell yeah, D&D rope physics, rope trick. I like that, so hell yeah. And then here's some foreshadowing. We get the tax collectors from the beginning of the movie / bounty hunters, and they show up at the orphanage probably to recruit some new orphans after the dragon toasted their last crew 6 years ago, so they're refilling the roster. We also learn that Garrett, the oldest orphan, is not going to be joining them on this quest. Rosalind, she shows up and meets up with them and says that Garrett is not okay. We don't know why yet. Probably he made other plans and he couldn't make the session, like the fornicator. God damn it, I miss you, fornicator. And then we almost get in a fight here with the water beast. It was almost awesome. It was almost badass. It was almost so freaking cool. But probably they didn't have the budget for it. So instead, we just get a bunch of boots splashing in the water for like 2 minutes. No monsters, no attack rolls, just wet footwear. Truly terrifying. And then the magic stone leads them to this tavern-like place. And look, I know this movie had a budget of like $50,000 or something like that. But honestly, I kind of love it because you could tell they put a ton of charm into this. Like this tavern scene, the sets rule, the props rule, the costumes are awesome, and like all the characters here look like they belong here. They don't look like they're like out of a different area or a different realm or different movie. Like everyone fits, and I love it. Every now and then you see a haircut where you're like, well, that motherfucker didn't get that haircut in this world. He went down to Great Clips. He clearly got the Great Clips. But all right. However, surprise round, the tax collectors show up again. They spot the orphans, and they immediately choose violence. Roll initiative, orphans. We're then introduced to this thief character guy. He's sitting in the cage. Somehow he gets a hold of the Waystone crystal, and he tells Aiden that if you want the crystal back, you need to get me out of this fucking cage. So she's trying to get... Wait a minute. What the fuck? Come on. If he could do that the whole time... Why was he sitting there watching her fiddle with the fucking lock for so long if he could just do that? Just say, hey, hand me that knife and I'll get me out of here super quick. But instead he just watches her in the middle of this battle, struggling to open this lock. So anyways, the thief gets out of the cage. He starts kicking ass, reminding me of the fornicator and what might have happened at this session if he didn't cancel. And then we get a fun little chase scene as our heroes and their new thief friend escape. And sadly, we learn that the tax collectors are actually bounty hunters and that Rosalind was running from them as she was bidded out to the highest bidder to be their apprentice. So once you hit a certain age, you're not allowed to be an orphan anymore. Instead, you got to get sold to like a bunch of asshole guilds. And so she was going to be an apprentice for these bounty hunters. And Rosalind tells the group that the same thing had happened to Garrett. So not good at all. And then around the fire, the thief guy, who we learn his name is Eric, not Eric, A-I-R-K, I believe, Eric. He tells the group that he knows of the magic of Father Christmas and that Father Christmas's power and magic comes from an orb, and he knows where that orb is. Unfortunately, it is in the hands of an ogre. And no, I'm not talking about Roseanne Barr. I'm talking about just an actual ogre. I'm sorry, Roseanne. She didn't need to catch strays like that. That was the first name that popped in my head. My apologies. And so they sneak into the ogre's cave to steal back the orb, and with the use of some tricks, a goat, and some fire, they manage to knock the ogre unconscious and sneak out of the cave with the orb in their hands. Yeah, it's a very fun little scene. You can tell they use special effects for the fire and stuff, but, you know, it was a cute little scene. It was fun. I dig it. I like it. And then he informs the orphans that he can lead them to the border of the north, but that is all the further he can go. Don't you dare ask him to go any further, because he won't. That's all the further he's going to go, is to the border to the north. And then once they're a safe distance away, the orphans, they want to know how the magic orb works. So we learned that Father Christmas, he would use this orb to slow down time so that he could visit all the children in the world in one single night. And for some reason, the orphans, they get upset with Eric because he doesn't know how to use the magic Christmas orb. Like, oh, cool, you know what it does? Well, fucking use it. That's why I can't use it. I just know how it works. And then they get all kind of pissy with him. Whatever. Eric tells them that they only have 2 days to get the orb to Father Christmas, since Christmas is 2 days away. And then out of nowhere, a fucking dragon gets blasted out of the sky, and we see a group of hunters that are coming to claim their kill and come to finish off the dragon. So hell yeah. There's a few times where like someone throws a spear at a dragon and it just fucking explodes in the air. There's a big giant explosion, so that's kind of fun. Aiden has a special connection with this dragon and attempts to calm it down while the hunters are circling in the woods. The orphans are like, hell no, we have tree bark masks on now. You can't stop us. And they start throwing shit and sticks. And then we get like a Three Ninjas style action scene as these orphans take on a group of buffoon warriors. And then while most of the hunters are taken out, a small group of them and their leader approach Aiden in order to kill this dragon. But luckily, this badass lady with a giant hood that clearly gets in the way all the time, she shows up and starts kicking ass. Why is her hood like this? How does that help anyone? I'm here to save you. Could you tell me which direction you are? What do you mean take my hood off? No. And then we get the big reveal. We learn why Eric can't lead the group beyond the border of the north. We learn that it was Father Christmas's son that had stolen the orb and taken off, thus leaving the North's magic to die and wither away, and for the elves to turn into goblins. And we now know that Father Christmas's son is none other than, drumroll, Eric. He was Son Christmas the entire time. Father Christmas, Son Christmas. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what happens when the DM says, hey, you know what would be cool? If you were the son the whole time. And this 100% had to be like a character backstory retcon. There's no way this was planned from the beginning of the campaign. And then we learn that the elf woman is named Siren, and she knows Eric, and she just whips his ass in front of all the orphans. And we learn that the reason that Eric stole the orb in the first place was because his mother passed away 5 years ago, and he was trying to use the orb to go back in time to save her. However, the orb only had one magic use of time travel left. So instead of going back in time to save his mother, he kind of forgot, and he went back in time and got the McRib, which I don't blame him for. I do not blame him at all for that. And I think he made the right choice, because you could always find a druid to reincarnate or a cleric to resurrect. You're not going to find anyone in this fantasy world that can replicate the McRib. You just can't. I've tried. And after saying goodbye to the dragon and telling them to meet them up north, whenever your wing is healed, the party, they continue off towards the northern border. And the party finds themselves in a forest where Siren warns them that there might be goblins afoot. Holy shit! That was actually terrifying. That little fucker that comes out first, that was actually kind of scary. And then we get a pretty long fight scene between the party and the goblins. However, because they are in the woods, and I think because of the loss of the Christmas magic, Siren, she's weakening, and she is slowly turning into one of those goblins. The orphans, they use their little orphan fighting skills, and they manage to fight off the goblins as well, giving Eric just enough time to pray and use the orb, and miraculously it works, pushing the goblins out of the area, and stopping Siren from changing into a goblin as well. And then we also get more CGI dragons, so that's fun too. And then finally we make it to the north, to the home of Father Christmas. And if you're expecting snow or anything else cool, prepare to be highly let down, because there's no snow in this movie. There's no cold. There's like none of that shit. Like if you're expecting like the Arctic or the mountains or something really cool snowy wise, that's not gonna happen. Unless you just wanted a barn. If you were looking forward to Santa's barn, here we are. They literally go to a barn in the woods and they're like, yep, that's the north. That's Dad's home. That's old Father Christmas. He's fucking in there building bombs and mailing them to people, because I'm pretty sure that's the same barn. And then I feel like Siren is kind of speaking to the audience when she says this. When they first approach the barn, she's like,
I just want to warn you. You're not going to like what you see.
and I think that's so fucking funny. And then sadly it appears that our heroes are too late. There's not enough magic left to wake up and strengthen Father Christmas. And that's the end of the movie. It's over. They failed. The party failed. Reroll characters. Make a new campaign. Does anyone else want a DM? Oh wait, not so fast, because the orphans have a plan. If they can set out and deliver presents, this will cause everyone to believe in Christmas again, thus powering the magic orb and having enough magic to bring not only the magic of Christmas back, but Father Christmas as well. And hopefully that will bring some magic to the special effects in this movie, because holy shit, some of these final scenes are pretty fucking rough. They kind of remind me of the Rebecca Black's Friday video for some reason, like when they're sitting in that car. When they're riding in the sled in this movie, it just reminds me of that. The good news is their plan appears to be working, as we see Father Christmas begin to move his little fingers. We see his orbs start to glow again, but things wouldn't stay good for long, as we see a group of angry villagers marching towards the dragon, and soon the orphans start getting picked off one by one. And with the orphans kidnapped, this was all a trap set by the bounty hunters in order to get Rosaline. Rosaline quickly gets the jump on the bounty hunters though, but she isn't strong enough to pull the rope. She needs to ring the bell. She has to ring the bell to wake the kids in the town so they see their presents that were delivered, so they believe in Christmas again, so they can wake up and strengthen Father Christmas. The bounty hunters grab Rosaline and they start dragging her through town, because she's like, I got your fucking crossbow, but I can't. I'm not strong enough. I gotta put the crossbow down to pull the rope. So she puts the crossbow down, pulls the rope. The bounty hunters, they grab her. They start dragging her through town, and that is when the party intercepts them. The female bounty hunter panics. She pulls out the crossbow again, and then she fires at the dragon. So that's pretty funny. But Aiden, she says hell no. She got a higher initiative. She jumps in front of the crossbow. And right there, we have our first player death. Not a dramatic death, not a heroic death, just a bad, poor decision death. Because poor choices lead to poor outcomes. You tried to intimidate. You rolled too low. You failed. They got pissed. They fired the crossbow. Aiden, you jumped in front of the bolt and you should be dead, dead, dead. Brain pierced. Campaign over. Blood and brains splattered all over the dragon. You failed. Roll a new orphan. Here's your character sheet. Instead, though, oh shit. We see time slow down. Why? Because the fucking Christmas magic worked, and Father Christmas, he comes out with his signature time stop move and pulls the crossbow bolt out of the way, and then delivers an emotional can of whip ass toward the loser bounty hunters. Hell yeah, Father Christmas, that's how we do it. Level 20 fucking wizard to save the day. This is when like the DM always has an NPC that's super badass and way cooler than all your characters, and he always saves the day. That's pretty much what this guy is. So Christmas is saved, the orphans can live up north with Father Christmas, the 2 adult characters get married, and then all is well again. And honestly, this movie, I know I ragged on it, but it was a lot of fun. I kind of wanted to hate it, but it's got heart, it's got charm. It's a good, fun movie for Christmas and for kids. Yeah, I had a good time watching it. Besides the CGI sometimes, if you are looking for like a fun family Christmas movie, this one isn't bad. So check it out. And was this a perfect movie? No. Was it the perfect D&D campaign? Also no. However, I would rather play in the Christmas Dragon campaign than to sit at home because of another missed session. And thank you, my friends, for joining us. Everything is D&D, and I will see you next session, where hopefully we get to actually play Fornicator. And if not, I guess maybe we'll find another campaign to review. Everything is D&D, and I will see you next session. And Robbie, see me after class, boy.